Okay, so I thought I would do a video to explain to you guys kind of how to use those builder credits, but I did do one before, and I actually have somebody that's going to give us a testimonial on how he found the videos and how what he did, and it actually we closed on his loan. It actually worked. So, Sertan, thanks for joining me, man. So, kind of tell us your story because you and I talked about 100 times before you even closed on your build, and then as soon as you closed, it was like every day we're watching rates, watching. I think we locked you in kind of like right when the Federal Reserve, they did whatever they did for like 24 hours, and I think that's when we locked you in. So, introduce yourself, give us the story. It was really cool and nice to
Yeah.
finally meet you face to face.
Yeah, good to meet you too. It's nice to I always watch your videos, but it's nice to assign a face to a name. So I don't think you've
Cool.
seen me before. So
No,
yeah,
we either chatted. I
yeah,
text a lot because it's like I have it on my screen and I can keep it organized and everything. So
yeah,
yeah, it's finally nice to see you face to face. But I feel
yeah,
like I've known you for years.
yeah, yeah. It feels that way too. Anyway, so my wife and I, we started shopping around for a new build here in California. We're specifically located in Sacramento, which is the state's capital. There's a lot of new construction homes going up in this area.
Yeah,
We were specifically shopping around with KB Homes as well as Century Community Homes, I believe they're called, or something like that.
yeah.
We even had Meritage Homes and some other builders as well. But yeah, I mean, when my wife and I kind of figured out where we wanted to buy our new build, just happened to be with KB Homes here in their Delta Shores community, all 5-5. We contracted for the lot when it was a dirt lot. This was back in, I'd say, October of 2024.
Got it.
And then, yeah, we were just living at my parents' house, saving up money for a down payment. And then they told us, when we contracted, we have about 6 months between. There was a little couple construction delays, but essentially, once we contracted, they told us it would take 6 to 8 months between contract and delivery. So anyhow, we made our earnest money deposit, which was 12 grand, and then we went ahead with the contract, and then it was cool to see the home go up through all of the various construction phases.
I've never built a home. I don't know how you do it. God bless you. But I find it, sometimes it's hard enough just to buy the darn thing to let alone to go in and do all the construction piece. So I give you kudos for that one.
Oh yeah. I mean, these are preset plans, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's 3 different floor plans we could choose from. There's some customization that can go on with regards to whether you want carpets or hardwood floors and various other countertop styles in the kitchen and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to pick between 3 different floor plans, and then there's a construction superintendent that basically gives you updates and you meet with them throughout the building process.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, I was on military leave from January to early May, and basically my wife was following the entire process and updating me and whatnot. But when it came, and I knew at the time, I think in September of last year, 24, the rates were they bottomed out at 6%, and then they started to go up from there. And I was like, oh wow, what's going on? The Fed's cut rates. Why aren't mortgage rates coming down? But that was I guess a common misconception that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So anyhow, our budget was kind of based off of that 6% range, and then when this builder, they, in order to take advantage of the builder credits, you have to go with the builder's preferred lender. Otherwise, they don't give you those builder credits. And basically what they were offering us was $20,000 in closing cost credit. And we also were able to get a $16,000 incentive towards upgrades in the home. So that was kind of nice. And then later on through the building process, you have like this one-time contract price like float down option in case like the cost of the home drops or they change like how much they sell the home for. So when we
Really?
contracted, when we contracted, the home was about 591. So 591,000 was the base price for the home before any kinds of upgrades. And then when I was like away, I was kind of keeping up on their website with like how much they were marketing the home for, but that dropped to like from 591 down to like 560-ish. So we used that like float down option to like float the contracted price down. They give you one time option to do that. So instead of 591, our home was now like 560, the contracted purchase price. So that was kind of nice. We got like
That's
even
cool.
more of a discount, a little bit more. But anyways, kind of like going off topic, but
No,
the
that's
rates,
awesome.
but the rates the builder was offering, it was about we started taking a closer look at it like around May, June, because it was our closing date was like mid-July, and their rates were like 7.3.
That's when you reached out to me.
Yeah, something in like the low seven, and I'm asking the builder, like, or the loan officer for the builder, which was KBHS Home Loans. I said, like, why is it so high? Like, we have excellent credit, like 780 plus. Like, how come rate? I mean, I see the market; it's saying it's like 6.5 or like something like that. Like, why are you charging 7.375 ish? And then they were like, oh, the cost of like doing business in California is like super high or whatever. Anyways, like,
and we debunked that.
Yeah.
Well, we debunked part of it.
Yeah. So that's when I reached out to Dan. So I kind of already somehow found your channel on YouTube. I don't remember how, but I was like, well, dang, this guy gives like really cool mortgage rate updates like 3 times a day. And
that's all I do. I live and sleep this stuff.
Yeah. And I never followed rates like that, but it was super interesting about like the various different like market movers that you talk about that I had no idea about. And that kind of like helped educate me with regards to like how the mortgages market operates and whatnot with news and stuff like the CPI or whatever. Anyhow, when I reached out to you, we're like, look, we're closing on this home. They're giving us 7.375. Like, I don't want that high of a rate. We want to like refinance within a few months of like closing on the home. So could you help us out? And then he was like, oh yeah, like definitely. And at the time, I think rates were like around 6.5-ish or whatnot.
Yeah.
So we ended up closing on the home in mid-July. We moved in. How we divvied up the 20,000 builder credit was we set up an escrow account for the property taxes and insurance, which was about, I'd say like 6.5, 7 grand that took out of the closing cost credit. And then we also did a 1-0 buy down, which was like a $4,000. It took another $4,000 chunk out of there. And then the remaining $9,000-ish dollars, about $1,000 went towards prepaying HOA fees for a year.
That was amazing too. And you told me that, I was like, man, you're getting all these credit. You took the most advantage of this program. That's why I reached out to you. I'm like, dude, you got to explain this to people.
Yeah. So they collected a year of HOA fees, which was like $1,000. HOA fees here are like $110 a month. It's not too high. And then the remaining $8,000. Well, you talk about in your videos how like when you're buying a new construction home, how closing costs are just like so astronomical versus like a refinance. So we had the remaining $9,000 went towards like transfer tax from like to the city or whatnot. And then these other closing cost fees and like title fees, like appraisal and whatnot. Yeah.
It's crazy. But then you keep going. I think you're going right down the path. I think you're going. Just keep going, because a lot of people, they don't understand. They're like, okay, I paid all those fees when I bought it. I'm not going to refinance because it doesn't make sense to pay all those fees again. Thus, I
Yeah,
think that's where
yeah.
you're going with this.
The only thing that they did have us pay for was the appraisal. They told us like the appraisal, you got to pay that up front, which was like $500. Okay, whatever. So we paid that up front with like our credit card and whatnot. But yeah, so out of pocket for closing on the home, we didn't have anything out of pocket besides the $500 appraisal fee. So, and then we divvied up the builder credits that way, as I mentioned. And then our mortgage payments started like September 1st of this year. And I had already reached out to Dan, like, I think it was like mid-August or whatnot. And rates were like 6.35, which was like 1% lower than what we had. But we did have that 1-0 buy down, which technically meant we had like a 6.375. But I don't know what market's going to be like in a year. I didn't want to like wait the entire year until like the credit expires, because like anything can change, and like I'd rather have a rate that locked in at the lowest point in the present day than like kind of think about what's going to happen in the future.
Well, the cool thing in your situation is when we took that loan with the builder, it was 7.375, and with that one buy down that you did, and the reason why we did it, remember, it was like if you don't use all the builder credits, you lose it. So it's like, okay, what kind of buy down can we make sense? So you guys might hear of like a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down. There's all kind of variations of this. So what we did is we put him in a 1 buy down, and that's about all the money he had remaining in those lender credits. But then, when he refinanced, I forget, what happened in this situation? And I know we just closed on it. Did you get the principal reduction of that $4,000 on your mortgage? So that's what happens as well, right? So you automatically had a $4,000 or so principal reduction that if you would have made payments, would have took you 2 years to cut down $4,000 off of your principal.
Yeah. So like, funny thing that you mentioned that we like technically did not have a September mortgage payment, just because that builder credit, when you refinance or from the buy down, it gets applied as like a principal balance reduction, and it can also be applied towards like the interest that you need to pay on the loan when you're like for your mortgage payment as well when you're refinancing. So we didn't have a mortgage payment technically for September, and even though like it was supposed to start in September, our buy down credit, our mortgage payment was $4,000. Basically, it's $4,000. So the $4,000 from that buy down was applied towards the September payment, and then we refinanced and we got kind of lucky. We caught like the market right before.
Come on, you didn't get lucky.
Yeah, no, you got. I didn't get lucky. Dan did me a favor, and he locked us in like right before the Fed cut. I think maybe it was like a day before, or actually like the day of, like early in the morning.
The day of that at noon, I locked you and about 4 other people, and that was the perfect timing. And that's what we were expecting.
Yeah, and we got a better rate. So instead of the 6.375, we got 5.99, which was like a 1.377% reduction from what our loan is. So, and also like, not only that, but we got a really nice lender credit, which was like $5,111 and some change. So that was like a super nice bonus as well that helped out with
these are the things why I'm trying out there, and I'm trying to, hopefully your whole experience with us was good. Our whole goal is just education. We try not to sit there and hopefully we weren't hard salespeople on you guys or anything. Just trying to be there for you when you had questions, help you navigate this whole process. And that was the reason why I reached out to you. You were really cool to work with, and you were a diligent student. It was like we were texting back and forth days and days. And even it got to one point, you're like, okay. And I'm like, you're not closing for another 2 weeks. And you're like, I know, but I got to do this thing. So
there's, and like special, like, kudos and shout out to your loan officer, Dawn.
Yeah.
Like she's extremely helpful, like answered all the questions. And also
Alan. There's Alan
Alan.
and
Yes,
Patrick.
Alan. Alan's the primary one that I was working with, and like he's
Yeah.
super helpful with like answering my questions. And I send a lot of questions. Like he can attest to that. and like you guys reply with like full on like videos explaining like
Awesome.
the responses to my questions. So that was super cool. Like I haven't experienced that before.
The comments a lot of times is, and I try to put myself into your situation. I try to put myself into your situation a little bit when it comes to cars. That's my best example I can make it. When I take my car into the shop, I don't know what they're doing, but it's kind of cool. Now the place we go to, they send me a video of what they did and they check this. And I'm like, that is so cool. So that's where we figured, okay, we're going to do, people find us on video. So we're going to respond to you guys back in video form just to say, okay, let's go through this and actually show you the numbers and show you the stuff on the screen so you get it. So, but you did fantastic, and I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today and being a diligent student out there, and it's amazing. Yeah. You still haven't made a mortgage payment, have you?
No, okay, so it's just to like cap off on it. When we did the refinance, we closed October 1st and paid off the existing lender that was originally with the builder. We did have like some closing costs, which was basically like the prepaid interest for the month of October, but that's expected anyhow. Yeah. And then our first mortgage payment, and our first mortgage payment, it's due December 1st.
That is crazy. So you moved in. When did you move in? And your first payment's going to be due December. When did you move in?
We moved in July 18th.
That is nuts, man. That is nuts. All I got to say is God bless you, man. I can't thank you enough for finding us. I can't thank you enough for reaching out and calling us. And it was a pleasure getting all your texts, because as soon as everybody on the whole team knows you. So that was one of the reasons why I reached out, and I'm like, dude, you gotta help me with a video to help people, explain to people what we do and how we do things, and especially, take some of the guidance that we give you. And it doesn't matter if you use us or not. Our whole goal is to educate and inform you guys. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I know you got a wife and some family to get to, and you got some phone calls to get back to. So thank you so much for joining me on this video to just help explain what we do and how we do things.
Absolutely.
So, thanks
for having me. Appreciate it.